All right, Ray, I am really interested in that new Toyota Camry. Can you get me an out the door price quote, please?
The out the door number. Why are you even concerned with the out the door number? Let me ask you a question. What did you have in mind for your monthly budget?
All right, I really appreciate the out the door price quote. Thank you. That is super helpful. But can you help me understand what all these fees are on here? I don't really understand what a Florida Family Advantage plan is. Can you break that down for me?
You want to know what the Florida friends and family fee is? My God, I don't know if you have friends or family in Florida, but even if you don't, once you pay that fee, you will. We're here for you.
Okay, so I got a price with you. I feel somewhat comfortable about it. What's the APR on the loan? And more importantly, can you tell me what the buy rate is? I know you sent my credit out to a bunch of different banks. What's the buy rate? What's the rate that you can get the vehicle or the loan approved for that I should be able to get myself?
I get that you want to know the buy rate. I don't handle the financing for you. They'll get you the best rate that they possibly can. And just between you and me, you can't get our buy rate.
I told you I might be interested in a used car. I'm not super interested in the monthly payment we've gotten to on the new Toyota Camry. That used 2019 that we were looking at together. Can you show me the repair order for that, the reconditioning work that the dealership did on that vehicle?
So you're telling me in order to be able to make a decision on this used car, you need to see the repair order showing our inspection and what we did reconditioning wise? I don't know if I can share that with you.
All right, I feel pretty comfortable with that repair order. You guys did a lot of work, and the out the door price quote for the 2019 seems reasonable. I didn't tell you this before because I watched a YouTube video from a channel called CarEdge, and they told me to treat this as two separate engagements. Well, I've got a trade in. Can you give me a value on my vehicle?
Well, I'm glad you held that trade to the very end, and now you want to know what it's worth. It's probably worth less. No, just kidding. We'll figure out. We'll get a number for you.
All right, so let's break that down, Dad. The first question I asked you was to get an out the door price quote, and initially you weren't going to give it to me. You actually tried to redirect back to monthly payment. Help everyone understand why it's a bit of a red flag if a dealer won't give you an out the door price quote, and why the dealership's so interested in getting you on that monthly payment.
Well, the monthly payment's the important thing to the dealership. They don't want you knowing what the total price of the vehicle is. They just want you to know what you're paying for it on a monthly basis. That's a much smaller number, by the way. So dealerships hate to give you an out the door. Most dealerships, they shouldn't, but they do. And the out the door, just so you understand, that's as if you were going to write a check for the vehicle. It includes every penny, every fee, every document amount, whatever it is, title, registration, there's nothing else to add. That's why you want to know what the out the door number is.
All right, so obviously I was able to get him to give me the out the door price because the next question I asked was, hey, explain these fees. It is a huge red flag, a tremendous red flag if there are all sorts of fees on an out the door worksheet. That being said, a lot of dealers, what's the saying? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Right? You got to take the shot. So a lot of dealers take shots, put fees. I called you out on the Florida Family Advantage, Florida Friends and Family, whatever the crap is. Why would a dealership not explaining what's in one of those fees or packages or things like that? Why would that be a red flag?
Well, if they don't want to explain what the fee is or what's actually part of that fee, it's because it's so overpriced you shouldn't be paying for it in the first place. The Florida Friends and Family, and there is a dealership in Florida that charges a fee like that. I mean, I don't know what they could tell you is actually in that fee, especially if you don't have any friends or family in Florida. So you suddenly just inherited a whole group from the dealership. They're going to invite you to Thanksgiving dinner. I don't think so. You need to get an explanation of all the fees that go into getting you that out the door price.
Third question was around financing, the APR. Friendly reminder, you should go into a dealership if you're going to buy a car and finance it with a pre-approval from a local credit union or a different financial institution. That is the only way you can have leverage when you're negotiating your financing. The question I asked is, what was my APR? And can you tell me the buy rate? Can you take a moment, Dad, and explain why? If a dealer won't tell you what APR you got, that's messed up. A dealer might not tell you what the buy rate is. Explain what buy rate is and why you should at least ask for it. Pretty please.
The buy rate, this is when you apply for a loan through a dealership, that's what's known as indirect lending. So you get approved for the loan, and the bank tells the dealership how much it's going to cost the dealership for the money. And that's the buy rate. It might be 5%. And they're allowed to mark it up usually no more than 2%. So yes, they'll tell you what your APR is. They are not mandated to share with you what the buy rate is. And the truth of the matter is, you couldn't get that rate on your own if you went to the dealership or you went to that bank, because, well, you're not placing as many loans with that bank on a monthly basis as the dealership is.
Doesn't mean you shouldn't ask, doesn't mean you shouldn't get a pre-approval. The fourth question I asked, which is a bit of a red flag if a dealer won't share it with you, was on a used vehicle. I was expressing interest in a used vehicle, and I asked to see the repair order, or RO, for the reconditioning work. Break this one down, Pops, what that means and also why it's so important that a dealer gives you a straight answer on it.
And most dealers, I think, would actually share that repair order with you because it shows what the mechanic checked out on the vehicle. It'll have the notes as to what the mechanic found wrong with the vehicle, what it needs, and whether or not the dealership approved getting that work done. And it'll show that work being done, the parts and the labor. So you'll be able to see exactly how much they spent in reconditioning. That might not necessarily include the detail fee from the detailing department to make the car look brand new again, but most dealerships would be, I think, would be more than happy to share that because it plays to their strength. Look what we've done. And if there's a dealership that won't, well, that is a giant red flag because that is more along the lines of, look what we should have done that we didn't.
Even when dealers get trade-ins, or especially when they buy used cars at auction, they do reconditioning work to get them showroom ready and to be sold. So yeah, if they won't share with you what work they did, red flag. All right, the last one, Dad, was around the trade-in. I used my CarEdge schooling to bring that up at the very end. 2 separate transactions, folks. Google search trade-in tactics for success. And our blog post that we wrote 5 years ago now, 4 years ago, should pop right up. You treat them as 2 separate transactions. If a dealer won't give you a firm number on your trade-in, that's no bueno.
What you really need to do is you need to get some other offers, outside offers on your trade-in. You can use our website to get some cash offers for your vehicle. You can take your vehicle to other dealers saying, I'm not interested in buying anything, but I am interested in selling my car. I don't need it any longer. Can you give me an idea as to what you would pay for it? And you need to have those values written down so that you know that the dealer where you are trading your car in is giving you the right amount for your trade-in.